From WNDU TV, this is 16 News Now.
The Fighting Irish are victorious for the second straight week as Notre Dame just rolls over Bowling Green 52-0, and their old defensive coordinator Brian Van Gorder. It's the first Notre Dame shutout since the Irish blanked Michigan 31-0 back in 2014. Thanks for sticking with us. After the game, I'm 16 News Now Sports Director Mark Skol Jr.
And I'm WHME Sports Director Chuck Freeby. Notre Dame now 4-1 on the season. Another dominating performance in 2019. That's Tim Prister from Irish Illustrated joining us. Tim, Brian Kelly challenged his team again this week. He asked his team if they want to be great instead of being good. Did the Irish prove they were great today?
I don't know if they proved they were great, but they hit their mark. Certainly they came out ready to play football on both sides of the ball. Ian Book, again, I don't know that his confidence takes a huge step forward, but he came out and did what he had to do. He completed 16 passes, 5 for touchdowns, used the tight ends. And, frankly, the guy that we thought might change our prediction a little bit was the quarterback that came in for Bowling Green, Grant Loy. He did a pretty good job. He still didn't get him in the end zone, but probably took some possessions and a few more scoring opportunities away from the offense.
Well, let's show you how it got to be this way today at Notre Dame Stadium after a 3-and-out on the first Irish drive. Notre Dame was quickly moving, and Ian Book looking for his tight ends. First, he connects with Tommy Tremble, the sophomore tight end, scoring his second touchdown of the year. That makes it 7-0. On the next Irish dive, Book looks Cole Kmet's way, and he's back in the end zone. This one from 21. Notre Dame up 14-0. The offense looking good early, and those tight ends are a problem for defenses.
Big day for the tight ends, and we knew that once Notre Dame's tight ends were all healthy, it was a pretty good group. Tommy Tremble's really done a nice job of stepping forward. In 3 weeks, we've seen how much Cole Kmet means to Chip Long's offense. And a little bit later in the game, Brock Wright got involved. So, there are more dimensions to this offense than maybe we saw at the beginning of the year, and the tight ends are certainly a big part of it.
Meanwhile, the Notre Dame defense was flat-out dominant to start the game, and that's what you should expect going up against one of the worst passing teams in the FBS. Last week's star Julian Aquara continued to look great, and Jameer Jones made an impact early on with the sack on BG's second drive of the game. The Irish forced the Falcons to 3 3-and-outs on the Falcons' first 3 possessions for a whopping total of -2 yards. There was certainly a big difference with Notre Dame's defense today and the defense of the old Irish defensive coordinator, Brian Van Gorder.
Yeah, well, that's for sure. There's a huge difference there.
Even though he had the last shutout.
He did have the last shutout in 2014 against Michigan in Notre Dame Stadium, but yeah, again, it was a good continuation, really, of what they've done for 3 weeks in a row now. The performance against Georgia, I don't think any of us anticipated how well they'd shut down the run. And this is, with Virginia and what they did with the sacks and the pressure on Bryce Perkins, this is just a continuation of that. Again, here's Darius Wade, the grad transfer from Boston College. They were just looking for a reason to make the transition at quarterback. Loy is a redshirt junior, and that's somebody that maybe they can start building their offense around moving forward.
Back to the offense for the Irish after the 2 scores to Tremble and Kmet. Book starts looking at his 6'4" wideout Chase Claypool. First quarter, Book throws up the jump ball. Claypool, no problem for the big Canadian, 34-yard touchdown. Extends the Irish lead to 21. Then in the second quarter, Book looks Claypool's way again, this time cutting across the middle. And he is in for the second time on the afternoon. Notre Dame would be up 28-0 in this game. And I'm sure, Tim, Kelly was thrilled that Book was able to rekindle that connection with Chase Claypool.
Yeah, it was a huge mismatch, obviously, with Notre Dame's tight ends and Claypool. And you didn't want to see, after what happened with Claypool turning his ankle last week, you didn't want to see him play a ton. But he got enough in, and obviously he was healthy enough to play. Bowling Green had forced 24 incompletions in 4 games, which isn't a whole lot. Book only missed on 4, and Jerkovic only missed on maybe 1 or 2. So yeah, you're right, Chuck. It was a huge mismatch, and again, you just wanted to see Ian Book just hit the ground running and look smooth and find your receivers and hit the ones that are open, and by and large, he did all of that today.
Sticking with Book, he had a historic day today. Book in the second quarter buys some time in the pocket and eventually finds Javon McKinley all alone in the end zone for the 25-yard touchdown reception. And with that touchdown pass, Book becomes the first ever Notre Dame football player to ever throw 5 touchdowns in a single half of play. Book had 4 incompletions today, and one was a drop touchdown by McKinley in the second quarter. Definitely a good confidence booster for Book today.
Well, Javon McKinley is somebody that they've looked to, try to advance his game and get him involved. And with USC coming up, it's good for him to get in the end zone. He's played pretty darn well, a guy that none of us ever really expected would be making a significant contribution this year. And, again, the tight end play is so critical to Notre Dame's game. When you get the tight ends involved like that in the passing game, you're going to open up some avenues in the running game. We didn't hear much from Tony Jones today, but he still went over 100 yards because he didn't carry double-digit times. And it was going to be that kind of day. Kent State had 375 yards rushing against Bowling Green and 375 yards passing, so there's some symmetry to Bowling Green's defense, if nothing else.
Book called for the check by early in the second half. Backup quarterback Phil Jerkovic took over where Book left off. Jerkovic got it done with his legs and then threw a deep ball to Avery Davis. He would eventually find Davis again for a 7-yard score. Here's the deep ball to Davis. I'm not exactly sure what the Bowling Green defense was doing on that play. And then a little bit later, Jerkovic with his first career touchdown pass. He certainly showed some flashes today to give fans some optimism about the position once Ian Book decides that he is done at Notre Dame.
I thought he looked pretty good. He ran the ball. Because of his length and his athleticism, he's got a little bit more explosion when he chooses to run than in Ian Book. He threw the ball. He had one pass that was behind, I think it was Joe Wilkins, and then one that kind of dovetailed and hit the ground. But, this is a kid that hasn't had many opportunities, and I think in the 2 opportunities that he's had so far this year, he's done a pretty darn good job.
Yeah, Jerkovic looked good, Book looked good, everyone looked good today, but that's what happens when you're playing Bowling Green. Is there anything that you can actually take away from a game like this?
Yeah, you probably came out of it pretty much injury-free and feeling good going into USC. USC had the week off, which most of Notre Dame's opponents do the rest of the way. But I think it's kind of a confidence boost for Ian Book. There's a little bit more to the playbook now with the tight ends, and now that the running game's loosening up a little bit, I don't know that you can necessarily extrapolate anything from this game and say, okay, that's going to allow them to beat USC. Notre Dame's better than USC. If they play up to their capabilities, they're going to be 5-1 next week.
Well, we had a chance to hear from Ian Book at the podium a little while ago. Let's hear what the Irish quarterback had to say.
Ian, the chunk plays on offense today, just how important are those? Not necessarily today, but big picture for what you guys want to do.
Very important. My job is to get the ball out there on the perimeter. We got some really skilled guys out there. It's my job to get the ball to them, and was definitely happy with the way the O-line protected today. They did a great job. I had a lot of time, was able to push the ball downfield, and Coach Long talks about it all the time. It's, great players make big plays, and that's what we needed. So we had a few of those tonight. We're going to need it for the rest of the season.
Ian, on your left, all 5 of your touchdown drives that you led were like 3 minutes or less. When you guys get going like that, is it hard to stop your offense?
I believe so. Yeah, we pride ourselves on having tempo, and something we really focused on this week was just getting in the rhythm and really pushing the tempo and just moving fast. That's part of our identity as an offense is going fast like that, so it definitely helps us.
Was it important for you guys to get multiple players involved? Like 4 guys had touchdown catches there in the first half. Yeah,
we have a lot of great players, and we want to get everyone in as much as we can, and it was great to see. Like I said earlier, guys stepping up, making big plays, big chunk plays.
Ian, to your right, you mentioned the offensive line giving you plenty of time. Did you kind of need to reset your clock in the pocket? I mean, on your last touchdown to McKinley, I'm sure you went through every progression. And was it something as the game went along you realized, look, I can make plays with my legs, but I can reset in the pocket here?
Yeah, just personally, it's something I'm focusing on, every week. Going through all my progressions, staying in the pocket, delivering the ball, getting the ball to the playmakers. So it was a great week to do that. I got to do it every week. And, yeah, like I said, the O-line did a great job. They've done a great job this whole entire season. I trust all of them. So it's on me to get the ball out there.
What was it like to see Phil get a little run there and perform that way? And what did you say to him to kind of calm him down?
At first, it was awesome to see him. You can tell he has so much fun out there. He works hard, day in and day out in practice. So it's great to see him go out there and have success, lead the offense, and just have total command. And that's what we're asked to do at the quarterback position. But then to see have a great run too. He's really athletic. He's faster than people think, and again, just really, really happy for him.
That was Ian Book. We'll hear from a couple players later and maybe Coach Kelly. And you can subscribe to Irish Illustrated, the #1 source for Notre Dame sports online. Just head to irishillustrated.com and click on Join to find the best plan for you.
Now, today was a homecoming of sorts for a young man on the visiting team. Bowling Green defensive back Cedric Mitchell, number 11, suited up in front of friends and family here at the stadium. The redshirt sophomore was a star at Concord High School. He was all-state in 2016. You better believe Mama was pumped to see him get some playing time against the Fighting Irish.
It's pretty exciting. Just the whole journey from high school to college has been really interesting. It's awesome to have him near home, closer drive, and this is a big deal.
And Cedric Mitchell did manage to break up a touchdown pass midway through the third quarter in Bowling Green's loss to the Irish. I remember him as a dynamic kick returner and receiver for the Minutemen.
Yeah, he was a good player and did some good things today as well. Now,
Yes,
before kickoff, tailgaters took to the lots on what was the coolest start for them so far this season.
80! 53 Mike, kill! Chance of flurries! On one! Go!
Wow. But as you just heard, that didn't stop their excitement. It maybe encouraged the fans from Ohio to find a spot on the lots early. And as the morning progressed, we even spotted the kids up and at them early on this Saturday. Further proof the adjustment to that cooler start was pretty swift.
Pretty swift was also the way that the Irish defensive line was able to get to quarterbacks and running backs today. They had another outstanding game, and Julian Okwara is now at the podium. Let's hear what the Irish defensive star has to say about the shutout.
How does that make you feel that you guys were able to, shut out Bowling Green here tonight?
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, I was just talking to Jalen and the rest of the guys in my class, just talking about how we've never really shut out a team since we've been here, so it was definitely an exciting time for us. I think the defense as a whole played very well. We were able to get some guys on the field who haven't played before, so it was definitely a nice feeling.
Just on that note, Julian, when did it occur to you that a shutout was possible? I know you always want one, but at some point in the game, it obviously became more likely than usual.
When the clock hit 0 at the fourth quarter, so obviously, I mean, anything could happen. I mean, they can get a fumble, pick it up, and run. So I mean, you don't stop playing until the last down when the clock hits 0. So that's when we for sure knew. So.
Now, Brian Kelly has just gone to the podium now. We'll head over to BK right now. BK's thoughts on the first shutout for Notre Dame since 2014 coming your way right now.
Hard as they could, but certainly it was a situation where we were certainly a better football team, and they did everything that they could to manage the clock, hold on to the football. But our football team did what they needed to do today, and we got the win, and we're going to enjoy it for 24 hours and then get ready for USC. So with that, we'll open up to questions.
Brian, you told us earlier in the week you were going to challenge your guys, to focus on themselves perhaps more than the opponent. How do you feel like they performed on that metric versus just the opponent?
Yeah, I thought they did a really good job. I mean, it certainly there wasn't perfection out there today, but there was a level and a standard of play. Today went the way it should have went, and could have gone better, certainly, but given the fact that they played two very good opponents in the previous 2 weeks and had USC on the horizon, as I said, I thought that they prepared extremely well during the week, and then I thought they went out and were very businesslike in the manner that they played today.
Brian, 9 players with receptions today. When your offense is clicking the way it is that what you kind of expect, where 9 guys can have the opportunity to catch a ball in one game? Yeah,
I think there's enough talent there on the offensive side of the ball that if we're required to get those guys, touches, they're going to make plays for us. Getting McKinley involved was something that we wanted to get done today. You saw the rotation at the backfield. That was an important piece of what we wanted to get done today as well. So that was more of a focus. The rest of it just happened as part of the offense, and distribution of the football.
And it was your first shutout since 2014. When it kind of gets to the end of the game there, is that an emphasis that you want to finish off and get the shutout, or is it just, let's just win the game?
No, I think everybody on the defensive side of the ball is thinking in those terms, what they can do to get a shutout. But, sometimes those things are, out of your hands when you have some inexperienced players. I'm thinking about, when we have the third group in there that we don't have a bad snap and it goes over our heads. But again, I think our defense played well enough to get a shutout. We were superior in terms of players today. We are not going to, run around the goog all weekend about the shutout. We've got it in perspective. We did some good things, there's no doubt. It's hard to get shutouts in college football, but we'll enjoy it for 24, and as I mentioned already, we'll get back to USC.
So, Coach, it seemed like your coaching staff allowed Ian Book to take more shots down the field, and obviously he performed very well doing that. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think we had some traditional calls down the field. There were some things that, I thought that he saw the field, well today. I think there was probably one that, he probably would have liked back, the interference or the lack of an interference call there. That ball should not have been thrown in that situation. But other than that, I thought he did a really nice job of seeing the field, putting the ball in a position where we could make some contested catches. So I like the things he did today. Who wouldn't? But again, the competition is going to step up. USC will be a bigger challenge. 2 weeks later, Michigan will be another big challenge. But good things to work on that we saw today from Ian, that we can show him on film, that he got a chance to feel today, which is even bigger. And we'll build off of that.
Now, before the game, Brian Kelly said he wanted to see Ian Book be more decisive, and I think he's pretty proud of how his quarterback played today.
Right, like you said in the answer, really only one bad decision today, a play where the Irish probably should have had a pass interference call go against Bowling Green. It didn't matter, obviously, in the outcome, 52-0. So he's got to be pleased with Book, and as you heard with the shutout, that's only the third shutout of the Kelly era, 2012 Wake Forest, 2014 Michigan, and today. They are rare in college football, so that's a stout performance by the Irish defense today.
And it got to feel pretty good going into arch rival USC right here a week from tonight. So, Maria, we'll send it back to you in the studio.
All right, guys, thank you very much. And be sure to stay tuned to 16 News Now. Coming up later this hour, we'll have much more on Notre Dame's blowout against Bowling Green. And if you just can't wait, you can always check out our WNDU mobile app. Everything you need to know about this year's team, just head to the sports section. Coming up next, the St. Joe County FACT team is investigating after a woman dies in an overnight crash, and officials say they have a suspected drunk driver in custody.